Control the controllables. It's our third live YouTube stream, and some of you will be listening back to this on the podcast. Please do let us know how you're finding them. This is our third one. Hopefully a few more of you are finding out about this now. I'm quite enjoying it, actually. Third night in, we had Mike Digby, coach of Tamara Zidanšek, last night. In this episode, this little short 20-25 minutes, going to give you a bit of an update of today in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, WTA Finals. But we also have a couple of special guests in the Wimbledon men's doubles champions who will be arriving in about 7 or 8 minutes. They've just qualified for the ATP Finals. They're in Paris currently in Henry Patton and Harri Heliövaara. So they will be joining. If you've got any questions for them, please do put them in the chat. Obviously, questions for myself about Riyadh and the WTA Finals as well. And I have to be honest, I've actually just ran back. I've just made it. And I've missed the dessert because today is very much media day out in Riyadh. So the doubles players, we had to be done by 10 a.m., although I did see a couple of them on court till about 11. So maybe we got the false message on that. But we were on court basically from 7:30 this morning, finished at 10. And then the singles players were finished by about 12 because they took all of the players and their teams off to Diriyah. And that's a historical site in Riyadh, very much linked to the royal family in Saudi Arabia. And that's where they do the big WTA players shoot. So you will see all of those gorgeous pictures. Everyone scrubs up incredibly well. There's been lots of excitement around what dresses and makeup, and I think it's nice for these players, right? You travel the world and to have that chance to glam up a little bit. So that happened. We were there for a few hours, all very nice, some food put on, and lots of pictures taken, and an opportunity, I think, for the teams as well to get their pictures taken together as well. So maybe I messed up a couple of pictures. Sorry, Aaron and Gabby. And then the singles players came a little bit after the doubles players. The rain did come. You don't think it's going to rain in Saudi Arabia, but there was a little bit of rain, which was kind of ironic, I think, when the pictures were being taken. And then back, and then this evening's been the players' party, the welcoming party, done very well. A little bit like I've got the menu in front of me. It was a little bit like the Masters Golf, looking at the menu. It's obviously a special evening, arguably the biggest event on the calendar for the WTA, their finals, their showpiece event. So they took us there. We had mocktails on arrival, obviously no alcohol in Saudi Arabia, which were very nice, which I'll let you know about the mocktails. So we had a desert rosé, which was a bubbly, fruity sangria to refresh your palate. Then the foreign affair, which was a vibrant and fruity drink. There was a sake-infused vanilla beans with the tartiness of passion fruit pulp that balances the sweetness and tartness. Now, I had that one and I was a bit like, ooh, I'm not sure about this. Very sweet, but it worked out okay. And then the menu was long and I was like, there's no way that this is going to keep coming. And it kept coming, from the bruschetta to the Peruvian sea bass ceviche to the Swiss souffle to the Thai king prawn gyoza. And then the pastas came out and the risotto came out. And then some chicken, ribeye, which I think everyone enjoyed, black cod. We didn't actually get around to the Asian marinated cauliflower steak, but maybe I left before that because I did leave before the fresh apple tart and the mango pavlova came out. So I'm sure I'll hear all about that from the girls yesterday. But just nice. It was a very intimate affair. Nice to spend time in our own little groups. Actually, we didn't really socialize that much at dinner, which it was just nice to have that time. You often on the tour don't get that time with your players. So that's been this evening, and then we're getting closer to getting down to business, right? Tomorrow's last practice day for those that are starting on Saturday. So you'll see, as I've talked about all week, I guess it'll start to just feel a little bit more serious. People are starting to get locked into game mode. We're seeing everyone obviously on the courts. Ourselves, it's media day tomorrow for the individual teams. So they'll be going, and they've got their set kind of 45-minute windows where whichever world media wants to speak to them, they set the time slot, and then we will be practicing. We managed to get on centre court again. We did this morning and played a practice set with Melchor Perez, which was fantastic. And then we get some time of our own on centre court tomorrow, and then our own time on the outside courts to prepare. Obviously, Gabby and Erin Dabrowski-Routliffe, who I'm coaching, and they don't start till Sunday. So we've got a couple more days preparation. And then the one actually that jumped out for me today, I had a lovely chat, myself, Gabby and Erin did with Ons Jabeur. She's here in a bit of an ambassador role. She's so lovely, she really is. I think we all want to see her win a Grand Slam one day, right? What we actually got talking about, maybe I'll ask Harri and Henry about this in a minute, but around social media, I'll not say the amount, but she's paying X amount for social media. We're talking about maybe the importance of that, and she was telling us about a conversation her and Aryna Sabalenka had the day before, which was very much around Aryna Sabalenka. The way the conversation went, I think it was Garbine Muguruza, who's the tournament director. She turned and said, Aryna, you're the one that the fans want to see. They're always talking about yourself. And Aryna said, look, I feel that actually. I've started to feel that. And I think I have the reason why. And she said to Ons that it's because of TikTok. And ever since she's gone on TikTok, it's gone viral, I guess. And it's opened up a whole new audience to tennis and to Aryna Sabalenka. And she says, wherever I go, everyone wants to talk to me and wants to tell me how much they love my TikTok. And you'll see, I think, on the WTA Instagram today, I haven't seen it yet, but I saw it being made. Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek were making their own TikTok. And then this evening, you've got Coco Gauff making a TikTok with her team. And, I said to the girls tonight at dinner, like, if tennis is serious about, getting a new audience, we've got to roll with the times, right? And the other one I saw tonight was Carlos Alcaraz. He won his match in Paris, and he celebrated with the Neymar celebration. And even my son, I saw he posted that on his social media. These are the things that are drawing the attention of the new tennis fans out there. We've got to realize that it's a little bit different, nowadays. It's 2024. We can't live in our old ways. And I hope that the WTA are taking that seriously as well on how they're opening up other markets. So look out for these players, their TikToks. Get to know these players a little bit more. There's some great characters. In terms of questions, we have had a few that have come in. So thank you so much for sending those questions, and we will get to those. But please see in the chat there any questions you have, either for myself about the WTA Finals, about Riyadh, or about what's happening out here, about the inside knowledge of how this tournament is. Please do ask the questions. And then in about a minute's time, we're going to have Harri Heliövaara and Henry Patton fresh off their win through to the quarterfinals today against Dodig and Marian Cilic in Paris, 10-8. We saw the traditional Harri Heliövaara celebration, and they've just qualified for the ATP Finals. And I think it's a great opportunity to ask them a little bit about that. What does that mean to players? The ATP and WTA Finals. Are they really these events that everyone is as excited about as Grand Slams, or where does that fit into their world, into their ambition, into their experience, all of these things. So I want to jump in to that with them, and I'm sure there might be a couple more questions. We're not going to keep them too long, but we will have them on for a few minutes. And from a personal side, actually, I'm excited that Vicky, my wife, who many of you would have heard on the podcast the last couple of years, she's coming out to the finals never really get a chance to have Vicky come out, and it's lovely. She's going to come and support the girls, and hopefully experience the event for 3 or 4 days. And after trick or treating tonight with our kids, as I'm sure lots of people have been trick or treating tonight for Halloween. So happy Halloween to everybody, and that'll be a real nice treat for myself and hopefully for Vicky to spend some time out here in Riyadh. I can see that the boys are just trying to jump on right now, which is great. So again, don't forget questions. If you want to ask Wimbledon champions some questions, now's your time to get them in. We're going to have a few questions to ask them, and then we'll see. And just a little bit on, I guess, Harri and Henry. What a great year they've had, right? Anyone that follows tennis and follows doubles, and if you haven't watched that Wimbledon men's final, watch it. What an event that was. We do have a podcast on it as well. They spoke to us a couple of days after, and here they are. Firstly, as always, if there was going to be someone first, I would expect that it's Harri Heliövaara. He's beaten his partner. Oh, is he next to you? Yep. Harri first, Henry second. Boys, how you doing?
Very well. Happy to be first here.
Yeah, so I'll bring up the rear. That's fine.
Is this a trend, Henry, that Harri just gets there first?
I just have to keep him feeling good, keep him feeling quick, young, all of those things. Yeah.
And my first one, boys, just to jump in, well done today. I did watch the final moments of the second set tiebreak, and then managed to also see the third set tiebreak and Harry's forehand that can't have been that far in, but a beautiful forehand to win. Obviously 10-8 in the third, always a great match to win. But the first bit I want to ask you about is, as you've been coming on, we've been talking about WTA Finals, and we've been talking about the TikTok world that is taking over the WTA Finals. Aryna Sabalenka, Coco Gauff, Iga Swiatek getting involved. When are we going to have the Double H TikTok account? When's it starting?
Henry is younger than me. I think this is one of the things he should go for. I have my blog. I'm doing a little bit of social media, but Henry, you're young enough to take the TikTok fully on.
Yeah, I don't know if Harry's even heard of TikTok, has he? No, I don't know. I mean, Harry's sort of the entertainer of the two of us. Maybe we'll fight over who has to do it. If you can't tell, I don't think either of us are overly keen.
Yeah, but it's a serious question I ask, though, because and Harry, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to you mic'd up in one of the American events, Washington, maybe earlier this year. And obviously you were on the player council for a while at ATP. There's obviously tennis has got a battle on its hands against other sports, and then obviously doubles has got a battle on its hands for their place within tennis. We are in 2024. As I was talking about before you guys came on, I had a big chat with Ons Jabeur today, and she'd been sitting down, and Sabalenka she's the current fans' favorite. That's what they're talking about, the tournament directors. People want Aryna Sabalenka. And what Sabalenka said, I've got the secret. She said, I've got the secret. And Ons was like, what's the secret? It's going to be this amazing thing. And she went, TikTok. She said, ever since I've gone onto TikTok, I go to every tournament and everyone wants to know me. Everyone wants to hear about what TikToks I'm doing next. It's kind of the new world. So firstly, Harri, that mic'd up thing happened, but it then never happened again. Why not? And why can't we, I guess, try and do these things to get you guys out there a bit, get to know you?
Yeah, you're right. I was the first ever player to be mic'd up for an ATP event, and I'm pretty proud about that. I think it was a great thing. It brought publicity for doubles, for myself, for our team, and sports. And sport is all about entertainment, and I fully support everything we can do to make it more entertaining, make it more special, make the fans more involved. I'm all in for that. I mean, I believe live tennis is. It's a harsh word to say, but it's dying a little bit. More and more of tennis is watched, just the highlights online on social media, on TikTok, following the stars. Live tennis takes so long, but we need more highlights. We need more content that is something different, something else, not just we could say boring serve and return, but But tennis, and especially doubles, has so many amazing rallies, so much communication, so many like mental parts of it that I would really like to see that more. If it's in TikTok, okay, that's great, but there are also many other ways to communicate that to the fan.
Okay, so I take that as you guys agreeing to TikTok. So that's great. So we've got an exclusive. So we'll take that. And the last thing actually that Ons was saying was, she was saying it's really hard to do it yourself, right? Because there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that makes it look good. But at the same time, if you don't have an involvement, it's not authentic. It doesn't bring, Harri, obviously you bring your personality very much to the court, but I think you players being able to bring your personalities through. So what she was saying that Sabalenka does is she does all of her own videos, but then she sends it off into like a cloud. And then obviously someone who's an expert in editing kind of brings the final piece together, and I think that's a starting point. And I think we're seeing it certainly happen a little bit with these players, but that's a little idea for you guys. But I want to move us on because these are short little streams. We do have some questions that have been coming in, so we're going to give a chance for people to have asked the questions to you guys. Big congratulations, ATP Finals. Incredible, and I know it's your first, Harri, it's your second, and they're special events, and it feels a bit like that in Riyadh this week. Everyone's won. I think as it gets closer to the event starting on Saturday, I think things will get a bit more serious, and obviously there's a new tournament to win, but there is definitely a sense of if you're here, you've kind of won the year in lots of ways, and there's a bit of a different feeling maybe the first 2 or 3 days. People are just a bit nicer to each other. There's a bit more it's a bit smaller, it's a bit more intimate. There's less of a jungle out there. So firstly, Henry, how does that feel being your first ATP Tour Finals?
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm obviously extremely proud of that achievement, not least because me and Harri started in March of this year, which I think we're the only pair there that haven't played the whole year together. Yeah, it's amazing. I obviously, I don't know what it's going to be like just yet. I haven't had a chance to experience what you're talking about there. But yeah, inevitably, everyone there has had a great year. Quite often at the start of events, like this week in Paris, and especially the indoor events, they tend to be extremely crowded, extremely busy. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it being a little bit quieter. And yeah, really looking forward to kind of test ourselves. You see these guys week in, week out, and obviously we've kind of played them at different stages throughout the year, but it's nice to have, I think we have 3 guaranteed matches, obviously in the group stage. So yeah, it's a really good opportunity to kind of test where we're at. And yeah, with a view to continuing next year.
And Harri, as the elder statesman, should I say the experience, obviously you were in Turin a couple of years ago, semi-finalists with Lloyd Glasspool. It's in Turin again. Give Henry a quick overview of what he can expect of the ATP Finals in Turin, and don't leave the Baratta out.
No, he can expect a partner that plays really, really well, I hope. No, obviously for me as well, it's not something I've achieved every year. It's the second time. Of course, it just shows that I've done something right. It's not just one-off when we did it with Lloyd 2 years ago, and back then it was very emotional to be there. But I think now both me and Henry achieved something really special this year already with winning Wimbledon, so we can go there and kind of not feel like the stadium is too big for us. And it's going to be packed every night. It's going to be a great atmosphere. They make even the doubles guys feel like stars. That's probably something that I would say is very different to a normal tournament. They treat you really well, and yeah, you're the star of the event, and that's something special. Sometimes in an ATP tournament, you feel like the doubles put on a secondary court, but in Turin, everything's played on the same big arena. The fans are there, the atmosphere is there, and we play for big points and big money, just like the singles guys.
And is the food the best there than any other tournament of the year?
It is up there. I would say it is the best. Even my parents, who came with me there 2 years ago, they demanded they want accreditation this time as well, just because of the food.
And Henry, on it, it's like, I think one of the questions, and this goes to both of you, but maybe you start first, Henry. Where does the ATP and WTA, obviously I'm at the WTA Finals, so I'm kind of pulling them together, but from your experience, where does that rank in a tennis player's mind? Do you know, when we're talking about, we've obviously got the 4 Grand Slams, we've got the Masters 1000s, we've got, you know, how special is it? Is it something that is a start of the year or start of a partnership goal? Is it where does it fit within I guess a tennis player's order of what they're trying to achieve throughout a year?
Well, I mean, funnily enough, when we got together, it was one of the first things that Calvin kind of set as a goal of us at the start was, you know, I think if we perform to our potential, then we can be at the ATP end of year finals. So yeah, obviously it's good for goal setting, and it's probably the truest representation of, you know, the race is the truest representation of, you know, who's done the best throughout the year. For me, I would probably put it. I would put Olympics and slams at the top for me, and then I would put the Masters finals and then the Masters 1000s. Yeah, it definitely feels like a much bigger achievement than you know, winning a Masters 1000. Although I can't speak to that, I obviously haven't done that yet. But in terms of an event, it feels very different to kind of your weekly event. Even this year in Paris, yeah, Turin's something different, and maybe that's, you know, I as a kid remember going and watching in '02 when it was held there, and I don't know, there's a special atmosphere there that you don't really get on the ATP tour anywhere else, I don't think, and it's probably only really matched at the Slams and the Olympics. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Again, I can't wait to see what it's all about. It's going to be a bit of a surreal experience being on court rather than watching. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, but yeah, it'll be surreal and hoping to be able to take it all in. And yeah, it's nice it's in Turin. It's, you know, me and Harry were in Turin not long ago playing the Challenger there. So yeah, it's going to be nice to be back playing a slightly bigger event.
And Harry, with you, in terms of when you qualified with Lloyd, I think it was the interviewer told you guys after, and Lloyd had no idea that you'd qualified when you made the semi-finals in Paris. And likewise, when in the finals, when you'd beaten Granollers for the Bios and you'd walked off the court, I think the interviewer also told Lloyd for the first time that you qualified for the semi-finals. I believe your awareness was a little bit more locked in. So on this occasion, how aware have you been of the points situation? Is that something that you do have your eye on? And be honest with me here. You know, do you have your eye on it? And how does that potentially affect dynamics and how you go about your business over the last couple of months of the season?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be honest. It's impossible not to follow the race. I think 2 years ago we were with Louis Kyer a lot that time, and he gave us an advice not to ask any questions. If anyone asked, how does it look like for Turin, he told us not to say anything, not to think about it. And I think Lloyd did that pretty well, to not know. But I mean, I'm the guy who follows results, follows the rankings. I just love it. It is nerve-wracking sometimes. You might lose an hour or two of sleep every now and then, but then okay, two years ago when we won the quarterfinal to clinch the spot, I mean, I had tears of joy after that match. This time we knew that we were in Turin when Lamons Withrow lost their first round doubles here, so obviously I was watching that tie break. And yeah, I mean, you don't wish anyone to lose, but you can hope for a certain result. And this time we have Calvin in the team as well, and Calvin has been, yeah, really enthusiastic about the trip to Turin. So he kept us informed how it's going, and he's being emotional as well. So yeah, long answer, but yes, I knew exactly where we were in the race all the time, and I'm pretty sure Henry, he won't admit it, but he knew it as well.
Oh, I only knew because Harry and Calvin wouldn't stop bloody going on about it. I mean, honestly, it's like, you know, let's just focus on what we're doing, and you know, if we do well, then we'll be there. That was mine, and then they, yeah, they spoiled it for me.
Well, it's in my experience of working on the men's tour compared to the women's tour, I think there's more talk about it on the men's tour than the women's. And if you actually go and look at the WTA doubles race, there's literally 12 or 13 teams that have stuck, like, that even like attempt to do it. It's unbelievable. Like, really, like, there's like 12 or 13 teams, and maybe that changes now. I mean, Saudis injected some money into this one. You know, I think the first round, Gabi and Erin made semis last year. And if they lost every match here, which Erin told me, this is not the coach telling the player. Erin said to me a couple of weeks ago, if we lose love and love in every match in Saudi, we make the same amount of money as we do when we made semis last year. So hopefully this is not setting the standard for this week. But I think that sort of money is obviously getting people going a lot more. Whereas I always felt that the men are setting out their year with that as like a high, and almost people like in like February, March, looking at the race and saying, shit, we're third in the race. Or it seems to be quite a big thing. And obviously maybe that's also the experience of London and Turin, which is pretty special. You know, and I think actually out here in Riyadh, it's very clear they've actually tried to copy Turin a little bit. You know, in terms of how they've set, so it's a smaller court, beautiful court, but the way they've set the players' lounge up, fantastic food, overlooking practice courts, you know, beautiful gym. They've done a really good job. So it's going to be interesting. But boys, I promised you 5 or 7 minutes, and as always, I don't stick to that promise, so I apologize. But I do want to get the fans who have been sending some questions in for you guys. So I want to start with this is an ironic question actually, because I do believe at glance, we just had the big players meal, but I glanced and saw that Purcell and Thompson had won after being if down a set, and you were coming across them again tomorrow. And someone here has said, Nathan has said, does Purcell and Thompson's post-game comments at Wimbledon have any impact on you?
I assume he's referring to sort of the interview that was given on court. And if I remember it correctly, Jordan Thompson was asked, you know, how do you feel? And he said devastated, at which point the crowd sort of started laughing, and Max kind of butted in and said, don't laugh at him, which I personally thought was quite funny and fair enough. I don't know if Max was being serious or it was a bit of kind of dry Aussie humour, but no, not at all. I can fully empathise with how they were feeling after that match. And yeah, to be honest, I mean, Tomo's a great guy. It's great to see Max back. He's been injured. We all get along pretty well off court. So hopefully it'll be a good battle.
And one for you, Harry. Who has been your toughest opponent or team on tour this year?
Wow, should I remember that? I don't know. Before last week, I would have said Sadio Doumbia is one of the most difficult ones, but now we've beaten him twice. We played him 4 times, and he beat us the first 2 times, and he just gives us all kinds of trouble. But luckily we beat him in Vienna last week, so we have a little edge. But I would still say he's one of the most difficult ones to play against.
And over to you, Henry. I've got a question here that is actually for Henry. It says, are you feeling confident that Ipswich can turn it around?
Look, I've got to be honest. I don't, heavily follow Ipswich, although I have been, looking at their results. I feel that they just need one win. Just need one win under their belts. Get a little bit of confidence, and everything will be okay. Got a great manager. I mean, back-to-back promotions. We can't forget about that all of a sudden. So yeah, hopefully, leading into Christmas, after Christmas, it'll all be fine and dandy again.
As tennis players speak of, I've ever heard it. That one win, we get that one win, and we're off and running. But last one, guys, and over to you, Harry. This is from Josh James. He says, what has been the greatest adversity you've dealt with in tennis, and how did you overcome it?
Wow. Good question. I mean,
apart from playing with Lloyd.
That wasn't easy. No, I mean, I've always felt some pressure with my serve. That's been the part of the game that maybe goes up and down the most. But I mean, I have a psychologist I work with. We work on breathing exercises, how to focus, how to visualize the serving before the match on court. How do I approach every serve in a way that I believe in myself? And I think I had a Swedish coach in the past who said that I just, before every serve we go through a couple of thoughts. I believe that I can do it. I want to do it, and I can do it. And that's something that's for whole my career. Serve has been a difficult shot at times, but there's been many tournaments, matches, sets this year where I served exceptionally well, and I'm really proud of that and hope that continues. Very
good. And I do have a question, and I've been watching a lot of Paris. And I'll ask the question, but then let me give you also one thing. I don't know if you know this happened, but I had a little look. I'm always watching results, so I like to jump in and watch the matches when I can. And I looked last night at Lloyd Glasspool and Pavlicek, and they were 7-6, 5-4 up. And on the ATP app, I was like, this can't be right. They'd served 46 points, 45 points, and they'd won 45 points. I was like, what? So I then put Tennis TV on and, watched Lloyd serve it out. And, first point, thank you very much. Second point, I don't know if you saw it, missed the second serve double fault. And I was like, no, he's messed up with a double fault. He's like the golden match on the serve. And then they Hawkeye looked at the challenge. The second serve was on the line, so they got the first serve again. Then they won that point, so they went 30-love up. But then he double faulted at 30-love for 30-15. The Hawkeye again, challenge again, but this time didn't win it, and then held. So they served 50 points, 30 first serves, won 30. Won 19 out of 20 second serves. I then watched again today. It looks really fast. Now that's impressive, whatever, but it looks really fast there, Henry. Is it as fast as what I'm seeing? My eyes are seeing.
It's pretty fast. Yeah. It is really fast. I mean, I've spoken to obviously spoken to Harri a bit about Turin, and he says the courts there are even faster. So I don't think it's necessarily that the courts are, outrageously fast. It is quick. One thing that we've noticed is the practice courts here, which, I mean, I kid you not, are in a bubble about 20 meters away from the other courts. The practice courts in there are quite a bit slower than the match courts, which was difficult. I mean, we had a tough time. Harri did better than me, in fairness, but we had a tough time adjusting to that today. Just the difference in speed more than the speed itself. So maybe that has something to do with it. I mean, I know in Cincinnati they were saying that they were potentially looking to speed up the pace of the courts, to try and kind of encourage different game styles to play. So maybe it's something to do with that. But
quicker than normal, Harri, in Paris?
Yes, definitely a lot quicker than in the past, a lot quicker than any other tournament, I would say. And let me come back to the Lloyds and Pavlicek yesterday's match. I was the first to send Lloyd a message. Said, what did you do with that double fault right after the match? And he said everybody is saying the same thing to him. And he wasn't aware, amazingly, again.
Yeah, no, he said the same to me. He wasn't aware. He had no idea. He had no idea. Maybe he did. Maybe he doesn't want us to know that he maybe choked that one a little bit. The 48 out of 48, Boys, always a pleasure. As you know, I'm a big fan of you both, and all the best the rest of the week in Paris, and all the best in Turin. Enjoy it all. Take it in. It's important that we just stop and enjoy these moments as well. So I hope you have time to do that, and I'll hopefully see you soon. But thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, pleasure. Good luck in Riyadh.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. So there we have it. Harri Heliövaara, Henry Patton. I know I promised 20-25 minutes. I think having Wimbledon champions on maybe justifies going a little bit longer. We will again be back tomorrow, and that will be the final evening before we start here in Riyadh on Saturday. Got some great guests lined up, plenty more people coming on board over the next few days. As I've said, if you like these, if you're listening, please do let us know. Any feedback that you give us, it's we're giving it a go. Control the controllables. We're giving it a try, and yeah, hopefully this tennis chat is well received. But until next time, I'm Dan Kiernan, and we are Control the Controllables.